Now this I'm just going to close that. This next question says, show the first name, the last name, and the full province name of each patient. Example, Ontario instead of ON. Now, province name. I know it says first name, which I know we have that in the patient. Last name, we also have that in the patient database. But province name, I'm not sure we have that. So if I come back here, this has the province name. So that means in this instance, we need to get data from the patient and data from the province name. And this is where join come in. I know also we've not spoken about joins in our study yet, but I think this might be a good way to test the waters with it. So I'm going to say we are looking for the first name, right? And we don't need that space again anymore, rather. And the last name, the first name, the last name, and we need the province name. But we don't have the province name under the patient database. So what we're going to do quickly is we can join the province name database also. So I'm just going to do this province name database. I'm going to do that. Now, to use the join, you can only join based on you call it primary and secondary key, basically. So that is, you need to relate the two databases or the two tables based on a data they both have in common. That's a simpler way to explain primary key. Now, if you go to your schema quickly, now let's see how they relate. You see, you have the patient database and the province database, and you can see that they both have the province ID, right? So that's a way to join this database to this database. So I'm going to say from on. Now, sometimes what I do is like just a little, so I don't have to write a long one here, like a little aliasing. You don't have to, or maybe I won't actually. I'm just going to write it down out, just because it's the first time we're learning this. Normally, I just use alias and just move on, but just to make it a bit clearer and very efficient, so you can see it clearly. So don't forget what the unique identifier here, or the key that relates both, is this, the province ID. So I'm going to say on patient dot province ID now equals to province name. So what I've done is I've said the database, the patient ID in this database is equal to the patient ID. Is that patient ID? Actually, it's province ID. So province ID, then province ID. So I've related this to this. So that is the province ID here. The province ID in the patient's table is also equal to the province ID in the province names. So that means I've then joined the two tables together. I don't want to click run. If I click run, it's going to say that the answer is wrong, but I'm just going to click run so that you can see, I think, the result here. So I'm going to click run. Yeah, it's not full yet, so that's fine. So I'm just going to say write the first name and last name. Then what was the last thing we need? We need the full province name. So we need the province name now. So I'm just going to say province name. Province name, yeah. So first name, last name, province name from the patient, obviously patient database, which has been joined with the province names database on. Yeah, I think that should work. Yeah, and that's it. So we pulled these two from our patient database, then we put this last one using the primary key from our province name database. And I think that's pretty simple. I'm just going to go to the next question. Next question. It says, show how many patients have a date of birth with 2010 as the birth year. Okay, that's pretty simple also. So they want the patient, now show how many. Now it's important that we that we pay attention to what we need and what the question says. It didn't say show the patient, it says show how many patients. So what we need is not the patient, what we need is the count of the patient. So I'm going to say select the count of the patients. Count of the patients. I'm just going to check that quickly. Count of the patient, right? It says then from again the patient table. It says where the birth date is 2010. So now what you can do here is you can say where the year of the birth date colon is equal to 2010. I think that should work. It says, oh yeah, there's no colon as patient. So I'm just going to do the patient ID because I think that would be a unique identifier for the patient. Yeah, I think that should work then. Yeah, and that's correct. So, and so that's the count of the patient. So I've just counted the patient ID, right? Because that's like it's a unique ID for each patient. Let's go on to the next question. Right, so this is the next question. It says, show the first name, the last name, and the height of the patient with the greatest height. Now, what some people might do is say, select. What people might do, not me, you say select this and then select height. Let's say all from the patient's table. Let's say where height is equal to max. Now I know this won't work. Why? Because the height data is saved as an integer and max obviously is not. So I know this won't work, so I won't even bother to run it. So this is where things like a subquery comes in. A subquery is like when you next a query into another query. So you use a query to solve a part of the problem, then you nest it into another query. So what I'm going to do here first is I will solve a part of the problem. I would first write a query that pulls the greatest height, that pulls the condition first. Then I would then select the first name and the last name of that patient. So I'm going to say select max height, because I know that works. I can use that in the select statement. I can say select. I'll say select max height, right, from the patient. So if I load that now, so that's the max height. Yeah, I know it's going to be incorrect. I'm just doing it gradually. So that's the max height. Now that I know the max height, then that's the query that I'm going to next. So I can then pull the first name and the last name and the height, right, all from the patient table, right, where I can now put this. Now, since I know this query will bring the patient that has the max height, so I can say where the height, right, is equal to this query. Just to make it the same. You see that now? So where the height is that query. So I can just put it in a bracket, so it just makes more sense. And then I can close that query. Take that back. And I'll close my query. If I run that, sorry. If I run that now, and that's it. That's correct. And I think that makes sense. But when we get into subqueries, I would explain this a bit more in depth. So let's solve the next question. It says, show all columns for patients who have one of the following patient IDs. Okay, so that's select. You want to select everything. Select everything from patients, right? It says from patients, it says who have one of the following. So that means they want patients that have patient ID, right? Then it's instead of writing where is equals to like 1 and then repeating it again and patient ID is equals to 45 now, you can just use the in. So I can see where the patient ID is in all of this. So I'm just going to copy that, paste it, and close it up with the colon, and that should work. Yeah, says you got it right. So that's it. So next question. It says show the total number of admissions. Just show the total number of admissions. So this admission, so select the count of everything. So I'm just going to say, I'm going to delete all of this and just put admissions. I'm just going to do the count of everything. That should give me the total number of admissions straight up. I'm just going to run that, and that's correct. Next question. I think we're gradually coming to an end now. It says, show all the columns from the admissions where the patient was admitted and discharged on the same day. So that is where the date of admission, right, and discharge is the same. And this is pretty simple also. So let's just go ahead and solve that. It says, so we're going to show all the columns. So I'm going to show everything, not the count now. I'm just going to show everything from admission where it says where the admitted date and discharge date are the same. So I can just say where this is equal to this. So where admission date is equal to discharge date. I think that should solve it. I'm going to run that quickly. Yep, that's correct. All right, so the next question, it says show the patient ID and the total number of admission for the patient ID 579. All right, I think that's pretty simple. So we're just going to say, so select, right? Select, we're showing the patient ID. I'm also showing the total number of admissions, that is the count, right? Count of admissions. So I'm going to use the admission date because that's a bit specific. So I'm just saying admission date, count of admission date, right? Then that's going to be from the admission table, right? Then where the patient ID is equal to 579. I think that should be what we're looking for. Just going to run that, Yeah, and that's correct. So let's go on to the next question. All right, so the next question says, based on the cities that our patient live in, show unique cities that are in province NS. Unique cities. All right, so I'm just gonna come back here. So if that cities, province, let's see that. Just trying to see where to query from. Okay, city is in the patient, so we're querying from the patient's table. All right. Then it says, based on the cities that our patient live in, show unique. That's important. Unique cities where our patient, that our patient ID. Show unique cities that are in province ID NS. Now we know we don't have, do we have a province ID? Or we have a province ID. Okay, so we don't need to join. We can do everything here. Where the province ID is, NS, right? So it's going to do that there, NS. But you know, it says unique cities. So I'm just going to say select, based on show unique cities. So we're looking for the cities. So I'm going to select distinct, and it's distinct city from, yeah, I think that should work. Yeah, and that's it. That's perfect. I'm going to go on to the next question. All right, now this says, write a query to find the first name, the last name, the birth date of patients who has height greater than 160 and weight greater than 70. Okay, so we're going to select again. What are we selecting? The first name, the last name, and the birth date. So I'm going to put first name, right? Last name and the birth date. Okay, from patient where it says the height should be. So I'm going to take that out. So height is greater than 160. Height is greater than 160, and because that can combine, we can use that to combine multiple conditional statements. Say and weight, right? It says height is greater than 160 and weight is greater than 70. So it's going to put 70 there, and that should work. Run that, and that's correct. So next question. It says, write a query. It says, write a query to find the list of patients, first name, last name, allergies, where allergies are not null and are from the city of Hamilton. I'm not sure of that, but just gonna go first name, last name, then allergies, right? Allergies from, yeah, they are all from the patient. It says where, what are the conditions? Allergies are not. So I would say where allergy is not null, right? And city is equal to that. So you're going to run that, and that's correct. On to the next question, I guess. Next question. So we've said we have completed everything. We've completed all questions for difficulty. Try to solve skipped questions or select another difficulty. So if I view all questions, I'm not sure we've skipped anything, so we've completed everything. So after this, now what we're going to do is we'll go on to other lessons, and when we're done with those lessons, we'll come back and solve the medium questions, And when we're done with the medium questions, we'll come back and solve the hard questions. And I think that's pretty much everything for now.